Welcome back to my channel, everybody, and welcome back to another video in this C++ programming course. So today, what we're going to focus on is the sin function, the kin function, whatever you like to call it. It's CIN. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a program that asks the user to input two integer numbers, and we're going to store both of these numbers in a separate variable, and I'm just going to declare it as A and B, and the values of these variables must be stored. It must be entered during the program execution, so you can't just put the value of the variable while you're coding it. No, it has to be done while the programming is running. So the way you use this is the CIN function with the reverse operator to ask input from the user. Then we want to multiply the two numbers and display the results. So here's an example program. So we're going to ask the user to input the first number. They're going to automatically put this number in. So we're not writing that number. When the program is running, that number is going to be inputted. Then once they press enter, it would move on to the next one, which is input the second number, which is here we're saying 18. And then we're going to print out the results. We're going to say A times B equals whatever the multiplication, the product of these two numbers are. And of course, this can't be hard coded and needs to be stored in a different variable. All right, so let's get started. Just like we do all of our programs, we need to include our directives, our namespace, and our main function. So we're going to start with include iOS stream. So it allows us to input and output whatever we want. And then we're going to using a namespace, call it std, as standard. Then we'll have our main function in here. So nothing new here. We've been doing this the whole time. There's nothing new here. So what do we want to do now? Let's declare the variables. Let's say A, B, and C. C will be the product of A times B. So let's declare them. So let's say we have an integer A, B, and C. So this is another way of writing int B, and int C. So what I'm doing here is I'm declaring these variables, but I'm not putting any value in there. The value will be stored while the program is executing, and that number is going to be inputted into it. So instead of saying like int a equals 0 or any value, right? Any value. It pretty much looks like this. It's going to be integer a semicolon. So what we're saying is we're declaring a space in memory for the integer a, but we're assigning no value to it. But what we can do is we can do multiple times. So that's what it's pretty much doing. These commas are declaring int a, we're allocating space for a, then we're allocating space for b, then we're allocating space for c. And these have no values at all yet. But during program execution, there will be a value. So now we're just asking to input the first number. So we're going to ask the question. And how do we ask the question? We use cout or cout, whatever you want to call it. We're going to use our operator. A string literal, so to ask the question. So we're going to ask to input the first number, semicolon, and space. And semicolon to finish that. So this is where we use the CIN function. So it's CIN, and we're going to do the reverse operator, and whichever variable we want to store it. So let's say the first number we want to store in A, and that's it for that one. Now you do the same exact thing for the second one. So we want to input the second number, semicolon, and we want to use the same one, the CIN function, and store that in B. Now after this, after we have the two variables, we want to update the value of c, which is a times b. So let's take stock of what we did. Let's move this down a little bit. So I declared the three functions here, three variables, I'm sorry, declarations in space. This function right here asks the first question, and this right here asks for inputs into A. So what this does, this sin function, is going to ask the user, whoever's running the program, is going to ask you to input something, and that value that you put in will now be A. So, for example, if at this point of the program, it's asking you to input the first number, and the user puts in 10, after this, the value of A now equals 10. And this is the same thing as the second question. And now this asks for the inputs into B. And now here it updates C to equal A times B. So what do we want to do after that? We want to write this. So this right here will be in a string literal, and this would be the value of C. So the reason why we don't hard code this and we have to use declare the variable within the cout function is because if the user changes A or changes B, then the value will be different. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do cout or cout, whichever one you want to call it. We're going to say A times B equals. Now we want to have a little space here. Then we're going to do our operator and C. This will show the value of C. So while we let this compile and run, just want to take stock one more time. So here the value of C is being stored by A times B, and then A times B equals C. So let's see what the program looks like. So it's asking us to input the first number. So this right here is our first cout, and this right here allowing us to input is our cin function. So let's say I want to do 5. Now this right here is our second cout function, and this right here is our second sin function, allowing us to do insert another number. So if you're looking at this right now, 5 times 9 is 45. So A times B equals 45. So what we can do is, just for simplicity, we can add another end line so it can be an enter. And let's debug that and see it run one more time just for more clarity. Let's say 17 is our first number, and let's say 92. So what's that value? A times B equals 1,564. Well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and leave some questions down there for some videos that you guys want to see or you guys want a little bit more explanation. Well, thank you guys. I hope you have a nice day.